And you'll see in the upper right-hand screen of my window that it's recording. Okay. I've changed the order of how I usually present this workshop because we always run out of time and we never get past the initial basics of using Adobe Connect. And the interest in this workshop was so high, I went ahead and opened it to the virtual users. So I don't know how this is going to work, so bear with me. But I hope today, by changing the order of service, that what I'm going to do is try to demonstrate as many of the features as possible so that at least you leave knowing what the system can do. A lot of times faculty leave the sessions without really having a thought in place because they didn't see all of the bells and whistles. So hopefully you'll see that today. After the demonstrations, I'll open up for questions and answers, and we'll practice a little bit today as well. First of all, for USC campuses, we have a site license. Faculty and staff can obtain an account by emailing bbsupport@sc.edu. And that's on your handout for the folks in the classroom. The virtual friends are going to get the handout when I get to the part of this session where I file share. So I'll be able to upload the handout, and you'll be able to click on that file and download it to your computer and print it. So I wanted to save that to that portion of the workshop. Also, because I'm not sure how this is going to work, I'm going to save the initial how you access Adobe Connect till towards the end. But basically, Adobe Connect is accessed through a web browser, and you would just put in that link that you see on your handout, breeze.sc.edu, and you'll log in with your credentials that you'll get from BB Support. Pedagogically, why you would use Adobe Connect would be for several reasons. Maybe you want to host virtual office hours for your students, and this doesn't just apply to to online. It can apply to face-to-face as well. Again, the faculty and staff can have an account. Students do not have an account. So you, as the faculty member or staff, can create a meeting room, which is what you see here. This training room is called a meeting room. You can call your room whatever you want: English 101, Business 202. And you can have a different meeting room for each of your sessions or your classes. And so all the user would need is that URL to enter the room as a guest. While they're inside the room, you can promote them to host or presenter roles, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But initially coming in, they're spectators, if you will. All they can do is watch and hear you. Some other pedagogical uses would be maybe you want to host some exam study sessions. Maybe a student is having trouble with a concept and you want to tap in with them virtually to do some things on the webcam or the document cam. There's a whiteboard feature in here. You can use that as well, and I'll demonstrate all of this that I'm talking about. You can also use Adobe Connect to collaborate with your peers. If you're doing some scholarly work and you want to, you're in different states and you want to connect and talk with each other, you can do that through Adobe Connect and save the phone bill. And you could do what we're doing now. We're hosting a conference through Adobe Connect. There are many presenters this week for this conference that are presenting in Adobe Connect. The sessions are being recorded, and the sessions can be shared with users at a later point. So as the account holder, you are what is called the host. So as the host or the account holder, you have 100% control over your account. The other two roles in the account are presenter and participant. Again, right now, all of you are listed in this meeting room as participants, and you'll see there's 24 users logged in so far as participants. And so all you can do is chat. If you wanted to chat, you can hear me and you can see me. If I enable your microphones, we'll be able to hear the virtual speaker people. As a presenter, I'm going to promote, let me promote Andrew. Is it Andrew or Andre? Andrew, I'm sorry. Let me promote Andrew to presenter. So Andrew, watch your screen. As right now, all you could see is a gray screen,
Right.
and you see your participants or your friends on the side.
Yes, ma'am.
When I make you a presenter, you're going to see what you see on my board up front. So this will enable you to, if you were doing an oral presentation, to browse for your PowerPoint. I will give you audio rights. You guys in here don't have camera, so we won't do the camera here, but you'll be able to upload your PowerPoint, do your presentation, and then I can demote you. And actually, can you type on the Adobe Connect Q&A note section in the bottom right? Can you type in there as a presenter? Okay. What I'm going to do is ask you to help moderate for me, if you don't mind. So as a participant, participants cannot type in the notes area. So I promoted him to a presenter so that he can type notes. So what I want you to do, if people have questions in the chat area, if you will copy those questions from the chat area and paste them in the notes section, that'll help me keep up with the Q&As.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So as a host, let's see. I'm going to promote Chris to a host, and throughout the session, I'll give him instructions on what to do as a host. So Chris will have more rights than Andrew would have, but he won't have 100% of the capabilities that I would have since I'm the account holder. Okay. So in the meeting room, so what everybody's looking at right now is the meeting room that I call training room. And basically what the meeting room does is allows you to manage the preferences for your meeting room and for your the roles for your students. You can run the audio wizard, you can record meetings, you can in and exit the room through this meeting option at the top toolbar. So you see your various options there. And for all of these options, I won't go through all of them, but just so that you know where they are. Under the Layouts tab, this allows you to create new layouts or switch between the layouts that are already present on the screen for you as the host. If you look to the right side of my screen, you'll see sharing, discussion, and collaboration. Those are called layouts. Right now we are in the sharing layout. Sharing allows me to share my screen, share documents, and share the whiteboard. And I'm going to show examples of all of these. The virtual people should see my screen. Hold on one second. Let's see. As a participant. Okay, so that's good. As a participant. Thank you, Dr. Smythe. As a participant, you guys don't see that. So I'm going to, okay. Okay, the virtual people see it, but the people in the classroom, okay. I'm not sure how that works, but anyway, if the classroom people will look at the screen, you'll see what I'm talking about. That's interesting that virtual people can see it and you guys can't. But at any rate, here's where I was talking about. We're in the sharing layout right now. This is the discussion, and this is the collaboration layout. And I clicked on those to show you that if you pre-plan what you're going to do in your course, you can already have your meeting room set up. So, and actually, let me not jump around because I'm going to mess up. Let me finish the tube layout. Okay, for those of you who can't see it, when I get to the presentation later, I'll advance you to presenters and you'll see what I'm talking about. So the next item on the toolbar is called pods. What you see in your screen right now, the chat area, the Adobe Connect Q&A, the camera and voice, and the attendee list, those are called pods. Pods can be added to any layout at any time and they can be taken away. For instance, if I go over here to the Adobe Connect Q&A pod on the bottom right of your screen, if I double click there, I can change the title of that pod. So let's say I call this Adobe Connect Discussions. You can create more than one pod, and you can move the pod to any place on the screen that you want. You can resize it by grabbing the handles and moving it back. You can do the same thing for the chat area, the attendee list, and the camera and voice. To add a pod, if I wanted to add another chat area, I would just go to Pods, Chat, Add New Chat, and now I have a new chat window. Again, I can double click on that title, rename it, and use it if I want. If not, I can hide it. This may come in helpful if you had groups in your class and you wanted to break them out in groups. You could call a pod Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, and Group 4, and that way each group had their own pod to generate questions or collaborate on. I'll show you more about pods when I get to the other two layouts. Self-explanatory, the audio and webcam options at the top will allow you to see your participants and they see you if you both have webcams. Right now, I'm the only one in here with the webcam, so really everybody can only see me and I can't see you, but I can see what you chat. If I enable your audio, I'll be able to hear you. The status bar at the top, the little man with his hand raised, I think each of you should have access to that at the top, at your top toolbar. You are able to raise your hand, agree or disagree. If you step away for some reason, mark yourself as stepped away so that the professor is not talking to an empty space. If I'm not talking loud enough, you can let the person know to speak louder, speak softer, speed up or slow down. You can laugh if you can virtually laugh if something was funny, or you can give an applause. So at this point, I want everybody to select one of those options, any one of your choice, and watch what happens in the participants panel. So some people are clapping and smiling. We've got some happy clapping people. Okay. Yes, if you can click it away, or as the professor, I could have cleared the status. So if you're using, you want to think about how you tailor your questions before you go online to do this. You want to have some housekeeping rules put in place before they log in. So for instance, if I was asking a question, if I said, okay, does anyone have any questions? Rather than everybody blurt out verbally, you could tell them to raise their hand, and you can call them by name when you're ready to address them. So let me get a couple of people to raise their hands. So as you see, as people start raising their hands, I get a list in the order that the person raised their hand. So Bradley was first, and what I would do is call on Bradley, and he would speak, and then when I'm done with him, I would hit approve. And then he's removed from the list. And then I would call on Valencia. She would speak, and I will remove her from the list. So this is a way to keep order of the order that the learners raise their hands or ask the questions virtually. Thank you, guys. Okay. Another status option would be to agree or disagree. So let's say I asked, is today a lovely day? Participants would either agree or disagree by selecting it. If I could get some of you to agree or disagree. So as you can see, the green check marks mean that they agree. And I'm not sure what environment Chris and Drew are in where it's not a lovely day for them, but you can easily gauge here how many people in the classroom are in agreement with what you said or asked. And if it's something that you need to expound upon, that would be a good visual gaugement of whether or not you need to elaborate on whatever it is you were talking about. Okay. So I think we pretty much get the idea of the status. If you was to step away, you would see the red dash. I tend to, when I kind of get excited, talk too fast. So if I, talk too fast, tell me, get the little green turtle, and tell me to slow down, or whatever the case may be, and I'll try to watch out for that. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to dive into the actual layout of each layout. So right now we're in the sharing layout. As you can see, as I said before, the pod that I've just moved over is my camera and voice. So you can take that pod, move it over, resize it, whatever you want to do. The person speaking or the person who's the host speaking will have their name under their video there. And for each pod, you're going to see a little drop down menu option, which will allow you to hide or maximize that pod. Since this is the camera pod, I'm going to select camera or stop my webcam if I wanted to stop it. And then if there are some other preferences you wanted to deal with, you can do that there. But other than that, resizing and moving is probably the bigger two things that people normally do with their pods. And I'm trying to resize this just so back in that corner. Okay. For the people in the classroom, I had them sign in as row 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to use that in just a moment. For the attendee list here, you see I have a total of 26 people. 2 are hosts, 1 is a presenter. I'm going to make Bradley a presenter as well. I'm going to make Devin and Diane presenters. And Dr. Smythe, I'm going to make you a host since you've been with me all week so far. Okay. Now, in the attendee list, that's a quick view for who's the hosts, presenters, and participants. If I click on the middle arrow, the middle icon, that's the breakout room view. So as you recall me talking about groups earlier, you can click on that breakout room and you can break your students out into rooms, or you can add rooms to put them in. So let's say I wanted to start breakouts. And what just happened for me on my end? Okay, I can hover over each person's name and put them in a breakout room, or I can tell Adobe Connect to evenly distribute the participants in breakout rooms. And you kind of see that happen real fast. So the host remained in the main room. Breakout room 1 I can't tell offhand if it distributed evenly or not, but can the virtual people see what breakout rooms they're in? Okay. So basically, if you wanted to break everybody up into groups, that's how you would do that. If you wanted to add breakout rooms, you could click on the plus sign, and it add a fourth one down here for me. I think I can take this and drag people. Did I do it just right? Yeah. You can select people, drag them on top of the word breakout, and it moves them to that breakout room. So you can't not? Okay. Yeah, see, you're in breakout room too. So you're only gonna, that's a good point. Okay, the point was made in class that one of the participants could only see breakout room 2 because that was the room he was in. So unless you're in class with me and watching it on the board, which is going to get kind of confusing for me here, as a participant, you're the student, so you're only going to see what's going to happen to you in that classroom. So if you're in the breakout room, you won't see the whole list of 26 people anymore. You're only going to see the list of 6 or so that's in your breakout room. And to end that, I'm just going to hit end breakouts, and everybody should be back to their prospective places. Okay. Okay, in the chat area, I think everybody has a handle on the chat area. I was going to ask for everyone to, okay, someone asked for the purpose of the breakout rooms. If you wanted to have your students break off into groups while they're online, that's a good way to do that. So if 5 people ended up in a breakout room, those 5 people will only see each other, and they can chat back and forth with each other. They won't be able to do that with everybody in the main room until you end the breakout sessions. Does that answer your question? Okay. I'm not sure, Meredith, but what I'm going to do is take your question and put it down to the bottom, and we're going to test that towards the end, if that's okay.
Veronica?
Yes.
Someone else has said that when they were in the breakout sessions, they could hear you speaking as well.
Okay. Okay. So we'll test what we can hear and see towards the end of the session. Okay, if everybody would type in the chat area your favorite hobby, 1 or 2 words. Kids are your favorite hobby, wow. I guess they have to be. Okay. Okay. So everybody that has put something in the chat area did so in the main meeting room. Okay, and so everybody in the room can see that. I think the participants, can you right click on another person and do private chat? Or is that just for presenters? You can't? Okay. So, I meant, huh? Okay. Left click on a person's name under the participants list and do a private chat to one person. And In their private chat, you can tell them what you thought about their hobby, or just say hi, or just, you know, something real quick to show you what happens when you private chat with another individual.
You just have to keep up with who you're private chatting with.
Oh yeah. Okay. So if you look at the bottom of your chat area, you will see a different tab open for each person you started a private chat with. So you want to be careful, because Drew doesn't want to talk to Winona. I mean, what's your name? Winona. He doesn't want a private chat with Winona and then turn around and private chat with Chris, but he's actually talking to Winona and say something bad about Winona. So you want to keep up with that. So in order to go back to the main room, you would basically click on everyone. And so let's say you were presenting and you had some students, you know, cutting up virtually. You could send them a private message and tell them, hey, you know, I need you to calm down. I need you to pay attention, or whatever the case may be, so that you don't embarrass them in front of the whole class. And so you'll want to make sure that whichever person you're talking to, that tab is highlighted. If that person sends you another message, then that message will highlight and kind of blink for you, letting you know that you received a new message. Is everyone okay there? Either say yes or give me a green check. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to the notes pods. This Adobe Connect discussion pod that I was talking about earlier is basically just a regular pod. I changed the name of the pod to Adobe Connect Discussions, again by double clicking and changing the name. As you're teaching, if you become very fluent at watching what's going on in the chat area, what I tend to do is pull those questions that they have out of the chats area and onto the pods area, so that I can keep up with the discussions or the questions. That helps me from scrolling back up and down through the chats and possibly missing someone's question. So that's why I asked Andrew to monitor those questions for me and put them on the notes pods. The other reason why I do that is because if you're hosting a study session, when you're done for that session, what you could do is drop down the little arrow and export that note as a plain text file, or you can email those notes and have those notes serve as a study guide for those students, or whatever the case may be. Whatever happens in this note pod, you can email your participants. When they get the email, it will not be an attachment. It will be in the body of the email. So be cognizant of how you're typing, what you're typing, the formatting and all of that, so that it's readable when they get it in the email. And from here, I can do a new note, or I could select notes. So let's say I had created 4 other notepads for different groups. If I wanted to open another one, I can do that from here, or I can do it from the pods area at the top. So again, you're thinking about, how do I want to organize this class? What pods or tools do I need to make that happen? Okay. Now, in the share my screen area, I can share my screen, which I'm going to do right now just to show you something real quick. And I can show the desktop. So eventually you guys are going to see what's on my desktop. So you all should see the pacer on the, okay. So let's say you wanted to demonstrate to someone whatever was on your desktop for whatever reason, you could do that by sharing your desktop. The participants cannot share until you give them presenter or host rights. When that person is done, you hit stop sharing. And you can do the same thing for any applications you could go out to the web or anything through Share My Screen. I'm going to go through Share My Documents since that's the most used, or the most that I've seen used. So let's say I'm a student presenting in class and I'm getting ready to give my oral presentation. I'm going to give them presenter rights or host rights, and they're going to share their document. I already have some things uploaded, and I'm going to show you each of these real quickly just to demonstrate the number of files that can be uploaded through Share My Document. The first is a PowerPoint. Okay, so I've already pre-uploaded some of these things because when you upload documents, the larger they are, the longer it takes for them to convert. So for the purposes of this class, I already have browsed my computer for the files, which is what you'll do if you do this for the first time. And then it will stay in this repository until you clear it. So when we log out and come back, those will remain there until you clear them out. So that's a good point to make if you're preparing for class. You want to already have your files uploaded. So clicking on this PowerPoint, and it's going to convert pretty quickly because I already had it uploaded. And so as you see a person doing their presentation, they can go through the slides. They click on the two bottom arrows to advance through or back. This sidebar icon at the very bottom, I don't know if you guys see that as participants, but if I click on that, as the presenter, I get a sidebar menu where I can jump through my slides by clicking on the title. If I had notes in the notes section of my PowerPoint, what I could do is click on notes, and let me go to the one that has notes on it. Okay, the participants don't, okay, let me do this. Let me make, in order to make everybody presenters at one time, you highlight everybody and make them presenters. Okay. Let me know if you see this, Diane, now. Can you guys see my notes on the?
You see the outline.
You see the outline? Okay, that's what you should see. Okay, so everybody can see, you can see the outline, correct? Okay. So presentation, my students were. Okay, Timothy, depending on how large the PowerPoint is and whether or not they have audio and other things like that in the presentation will determine how long it will take. It normally doesn't take that long. Typically, if you have animations, it might strip those because once it's uploading, it's going to convert it to a JPEG, if you will. So it just depends. So you should tell them to stay patient and wait for it to upload. Or you can have them enter the room early as presenters and go ahead and upload before classes start. Huh? So, yeah, everybody should be a presenter right now. Probably so. Yeah, if you're on the tablet, you won't see a lot of the options just because of the view. But what I wanted to show you as a presenter, if I clicked on a slide that had notes in the notes section in the PowerPoint, you'll see the notes on the screen, so you can use those notes to read from as you're presenting as the faculty member. But the students won't see that. So if they're in participant mode, they won't see that. Okay. Now I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to share another document, which is a PDF, just so you'll kind of get the feel for how it's going to look. At the bottom, if I wanted to increase the size, I could do that. If I wanted to rotate documents, I could do that. And fit to width and all of that. And again, if it was more than one page, you can use the arrows to navigate back and forth. My next document I'm going to share is an MP3. You can share podcast and or video files, and I'm going to show you those too as well. So this was already uploaded. It's only a few seconds. And you have a play bar at the bottom. So I'm going to hit play. And you hear the sound. Can the virtual people hear that? Okay. So basically, if this was a music class and you wanted to upload a sound file, you could do that. Another document I want to share is an image, and I just pulled this off of my desktop. So if this was an art class, you could share an image and talk about that image. Dr. Drew Geyer gave me permission to showcase his welcome video for a online course he did this summer. And it's an MP4 file, and I'm going to show up a little bit of that. It's only 2 minutes. And this lets you know you can show videos in this screen as well. And it's buffering, so give it just a second. He did this in the studio using Keith with the green screen technology. And
hello, I'm Dr. Andrew Geyer, and I'll be your instructor for English 285, American Literature since 1865.
Welcome to the class. I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about myself.
Okay, so you can upload videos. Okay, that file format was a MP4. I had access to his MP4 file. You are able to show YouTube if you go to share my screen, and I'm going to go to applications and open my Firefox that's already open. And
this part of the tour starts at the front of campus along University Parkway. In this movie, we'll cover the Penland Administration.
I can't really tell if you're seeing that or not. Can you see that on your end?
The library.
Yes.
The classroom can. Okay, good.
And the science building.
It's going in and out.
Okay. Let me stop sharing. Okay, so what it does on my end is opens a new window, and then I get confused as, you know, where I am. So if you can see that, so yes, you can share YouTube. Whatever's on the web, you can show it if you do share my screen and go through it through a web browser. Okay. The last thing I'm going to show you in the sharing mode is the whiteboard. Sharing the whiteboard, you have access to these toolbars at the top, and I'm not sure if you guys see the two marks at the top or not, but I can take a pencil and draw. I can erase it. I can get a text box in here and type in it. I can change colors with my tools or my pencils. And what you want to do is select the color before you start writing. If not, it'll keep the default color that was there already. I can take the pointer at the top and just point around if I wanted to. So if you were trying to accentuate something, you could do that with the pointer. And to get it to go away, just hit it again and turn it off. If I wanted to go in full screen mode, I could do that to make it bigger. And so when I do that, I think, well, for me, I don't see the participants list anymore, but I think you guys still see that. Okay, so I've stopped sharing there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to demote Chris and Dr. Smythe back to participants in order to participate in this next activity.
You want them as participants or presenters?
Participants. Let me get everybody down to participants. I'm sorry. Okay, so everybody's participants. So now I'm going to switch over to the discussion layout. And basically, one would use the discussion layout if they were not really trying to show anything. You're just using this to discuss. And one of the things that I did here, and if you would participate in the polls that you see visible, is the polls pod. I pre-created the polls because I knew what questions I wanted to ask you, so that would be important when you're thinking about what you're trying to relay in your class. And as soon as you're done, I'm going to broadcast those results so that you as the participants can see what the entire class selected. As soon as I see the numbers stop moving. And so what I did was I created the 3 questions as a pre-type discussion question. And then I'm going to host my course or my lecture, and then I'm going to end with 2 post-type questions. So you don't see the post questions yet because I didn't open them to the participants yet. So right now I'm going to hit broadcast results. And from the participants view, you should see how everybody marked. So as you're teaching or lecturing, that should be a good gauge for you to see where students' understanding is, depending on the questions that you ask. So I'm going to close those, and they should go away on your screen. And what I'm going to do now is open the last 2 polls, pretending we're done with this session, and I have 2 more questions for you to answer. And basically what I did was gave you an example of the 3 types of questions that polling will allow you to do. It'll allow you to do multiple choice, multiple answer, or short answer. And in just a second, I'm going to broadcast the results so that you see how people fared. So in asking how you're going to use Adobe Connect, look at the different types of answers: discussions, online help, virtual office hours, polling. Very carefully. Okay. Okay, so depending on your discipline, think about what types of questions you can ask and get short answers from to kind of gauge the results of your lectures. So again, we're in the discussions layout. If I wanted to add other layouts or add polls or whatever I wanted to do here, I can do that. I can move them around. I can resize them. Whatever you want to do, again, pre-plan and have it already ready. Most of this stuff you don't want to do on the fly, especially if you're not acclimated enough to it yet. But you can see by having these done, when I opened the questions to the audience, I got immediate feedback without spending the time typing and and all of that. Okay, got the polling, and then lastly is the collaboration layout. Now, the people in class got a one-page handout. If you turn that handout over, pretend that I gave you that handout in class a week ago, and you were supposed to work out the math problem, and you were unable to do it. For you virtual people, if you look in the file share area, you see I have a math problem uploaded, and I have the Adobe Connect handout uploaded. What you can do from the participants end is click on download files, click on the file that you want, and click download files. And that's going to download to your computer. And if you would start off with the math problem that I sent you. And you might get it behind the scenes if it doesn't download to your taskbar. Does everybody see that in here? Okay. Why can't I clear my status? I'm not sure why I can't clear everybody's status, but if you were able to download the math problem, let me know, because I don't want to leave anyone. Because there's a couple of things I'm going to show you what you can do with either your whiteboard or your webcam or your doc cam if you have one. Okay, it's not opening. It should open as an image. Okay, Timothy, check your, it's supposed to open in a new browser tab. And from that point, you should see a button that says click to download. Okay. Okay, so we're doing a virtual study session, and everybody had problems with this this math problem. So let me demonstrate how to solve the problem. I can do a whiteboard share and talk through the problem. So the problem says take your shoe size and multiply it by 5. So I'm going to take this pencil tool. My favorite color is blue, so I'm going to use blue. You can also change the width of your pencil. And my shoe size is an 8. And I'm using my mouse to draw. And it says multiply by 5. I would imagine if you took some time to practice with a tablet and a pen, this wouldn't be so clunky, but you could do this with a mouse. Okay, then it says add 50 to that answer. And this is a fun math problem, and this is not and this answer is going to be different from everyone because your shoe size and your year is different. You're going to take that answer and multiply it by 20. Hopefully you're getting some ideas on how this can work for you. Then we're going to add 1013 to that number. This is a little clunky. That's better than my actual handwriting. And then I'm going to subtract the year I was born, which was 1970. And my answer is going to be 843. And so when you get through, what should happen is the first number or 2 digits should be your shoe size, and the last 2 digits should be your current age. So I just threw that out there for a fun fact. to demonstrate what you could do with the whiteboard. And if I had a dot cam or a pen and tablet, and I'm going to use the webcam to kind of demonstrate what you could do. Oops, Keith is going to kill me. And I'm trying to hold the webcam and write at the same time, but you'll get the point. Thank you. Okay, so let's say you were writing and wanted to demonstrate. So anyway, you get the point. And I didn't finish working the problem, but I just wanted to thank you. Just wanted to demonstrate how you can use your webcam and dot cam, or maybe even a pen and tablet to work out some problems and do some demonstrations. Okay, let me screw this back on real quick. Okay. So again, for the virtual people, if you click on the Adobe Connect handout and click download, you'll get the same handout that the classroom people have. And also, that handout is just an overview of the things that I showed you. It's not a detailed handout at all, but it's enough to get you some practice in when you get your account, get you started. So right now, I have basically demonstrated just about everything that I know of to do in Adobe Connect, with the sharing layout, the discussions, and the collaboration layout, using the different pods and how you can use those. Can I use the smartboard with the color? Let me try the smartboard and see what happens. Let's see. I did better with my mouse. Am I supposed to hold it a certain way, Chris?
It's actually using that to control the mouse. It's not actually like you're writing.
Oh,
You have to
okay.
enable that.
Okay. So do you guys, you guys see that on your screen? Okay. So a question was asked whether or not I could use the smartboard with a color pen, and apparently I can. And I think you virtual people see that too as well, right? Okay. Okay, so at the end of each person sharing, if it was a student sharing, you basically go to the top and do stop sharing, and then give the presenter rights to the next group of people who are going to present. And then they upload their PowerPoint or whatever it is they're going to do, and you stop sharing after each person to let the next person go. Okay. How long should it take to upload PowerPoint presentations?
I was just gathering some of those.
Okay.
You already touched on.
Okay. To my knowledge, the files that I uploaded were MP3, MP4s, PDFs, PowerPoint. You could do a Word document. I didn't choose to do one, and images. And you could link out to the web. Can the host see what they discussed in the breakout sessions? Let's go to back to the breakout sessions real quickly, and let me see if I can see what you guys are saying in the breakout room. So I'm going to click on breakout room. Okay, everybody is still in their perspectives breakout rooms. So For each of you that's in a breakout room, have a conversation with each other and let me see.
I'm not seeing the breakout room.
Do you see?
Participants again?
Let's see. Oh, did I hit? I thought I hit start. Hold on. Breakout. I'm sorry, I didn't hit start. I thought I did. Okay. So now you're in breakout rooms and you should just see your group of people. Have a conversation or two and let me see what I see on my end.
You go in this chat.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I didn't realize that in breakout rooms, you guys automatically have access to share as participants. So that was good to know. So basically, if you were put into breakout rooms by your instructor in a group, one of you could upload a PowerPoint presentation and practice your oral presentation, if you will. And I don't see what individuals are doing in their individual breakout rooms. I just see who's in the room. Okay, so it was not until I was actually in a breakout room that I saw what they were saying, but it was on the main tab. So that probably was the main tab for that actual breakout session. Okay, so that's good to know. Okay.
As the instructor, you can go like room to room and see what.
Right. As the instructor, you can drag on your name and drop yourself into a breakout room, and then you see what's happening in that particular breakout room.
You have to take people out of the breakout room so they can't hear you.
I have to do what?
Right now you have them all in the breakout rooms, so when you're giving them the answer, they can't hear you.
Okay.
They're in the breakout rooms. So you have to end the breakouts.
Okay.
Now you can tell them.
Okay. The initial question was if the host can hear and see what's going on in the breakout rooms. When I started the breakout sessions, I could not, in a holistic view, see what was being said in each room. I only could see who were in the breakout rooms. You as the host can drag and drop yourself into any breakout room that you want, and when you do that, then you see what they're saying and what they're doing. Also, it appears that when I was in a breakout room, some of you couldn't hear me. So you'll have to end the breakout, as the instructor, you will have to end the breakout session in order for everybody to hear what you're saying, or unless only the people in that breakout room that you're in will be able to hear you. Okay, so it is similar to students working in groups in the classroom. That's correct. That's correct, except so Meredith, that's correct. So that would be exactly right. You would just be doing that virtually. And again, you can let Adobe distribute the students, or you can drag and drop them as you want into the various breakout sessions.
Veronica,
Yes.
can you make me a presenter again so I can copy a question down?
Okay.
Bottom for you?
Let me see if I have not missed any questions before I let you all go and play around.
That one from Deborah HR Virtual is the one I was pasting down at the bottom for you.
Okay. What I want to do now is I don't think we've missed any questions. Let's see. Okay. I've created several narrated lectures and I'm having trouble sharing them with students. When they try to access the link I provide them, they are asked for the login. Okay, and the lectures you're talking about is in Adobe Connect? Okay, in Adobe Connect, when you record a session, it's automatically set by default to private. You have to make it public in order for them to see it. So even though you share the link, if the lecture is marked private, they can't access it. So be sure you go before you, and I'll show you how to do that when we end this session, how to go grab your recorded lectures and rename them and make them public. Can you integrate Adobe Connect to Blackboard? So yes, please. I mean, Adobe Connect is a web browser-based application. Whether or not it'll run inside of Blackboard, you basically have to test it and see. Because basically what you're doing is logging into breeze.sc.edu, and then you're logging in with your account. I can't imagine that there's a way to embed Adobe Connect, because once you log in, it's going to take you out to the web browser. Now the link, the link, if you paste, you can copy the link from Adobe Connect and paste it into Blackboard, or paste it anywhere you want to in an email or anywhere. And as long as it's marked public, as long as it's marked public, you can paste the link and they should be able to click on it without logging in, because they won't have an account to log into. And it will open in a separate window unless you tell it to open in the same window. I'm going to try this, but I want us to be cognizant of other users. I'm going to promote everybody to presenters, just so you can kind of play around with the different options on the, actually, this is what I'm going to do. Everybody who's in who is marked row 2, actually row 1 and 2. If I see a row on here, I'm going to promote you to host. And so the host, I'm going to let the host people play around for just a moment. How do you create a lecture? Okay, when I first started the session, I went to meeting, and then where is it? This will say record meeting. We're recording right now. And so basically you will hit meeting, record meeting. When that happens, it's going to start recording. In the upper right hand screen, you see this little red dot. That will let you know your meeting is being recorded. When you're done, you will hit stop recording, and it goes to your main screen. And we'll go to the main screen in just, what time we're supposed to leave here? 12, okay. Let's play around for about 5 minutes, and then I'll show you how to go grab your recorded lecture. And then I can kind of show you around the main room if you had an account. For those of you who are outside of USC Aiken, you won't have the main account access part, but you get an idea of what's happening. Let's see. Are students able to use Adobe Connect? Okay, I've connected to Adobe Connect with the URL from a smartphone and from a tablet, and yes, they can see what's happening, but because of the size of the screen, they may not have all of the options that you would have on a computer or a laptop. Yes, thank you, Thomas, about the separate window. I always, when I have links, I always open them in a new window just to cut down confusion on the same window that I'm working in. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can give all of the hosts right now microphone rights. And give me a sound check. I can't tell who's actually virtual. Um, For those of you who have access to audio, if you would go to the top of your screen and click on the little microphone that says, it'll say connect audio. And is that Meredith that I hear? Hi, Meredith.
Yes.
So we hear you in the classroom.
Hi, Veronica.
They say
Hi,
hi.
everyone.
So when doing this, if you're going to enable the microphone for everybody in the room, you also want to lay down some housekeeping rules about not talking over each other and things like that. If you get a loud echoing type feedback, it's because everybody's trying to talk at one time. As the host, you can mute the whole classroom and you can only allow different folks to speak if they have the microphone. Oh, thanks, Melissa, for doing the webcam. So if you were, let me switch to discussion. And that way, let's say we were just talking and I had several folks on webcam. If anybody else has webcam, please join in for a moment. Hey. So basically, I don't remember the number of users that can be online, but typically, hey, Amy. But typically, you would you wouldn't want the whole class in the room at one time because it can have havoc on your bandwidth. So if you want to do a quick introduction and have everybody to see everybody at one time for introduction purposes, you could do that and then have them cut off their webcam. Or if they're speaking, you can advance them to use their webcam. But other than that, you could try it, and if everybody is working okay and seem fine, and you had a class of maybe 5, 10 people, it should work okay. But if you start experiencing sluggishness, that's the reason why, because everybody is on the webcam using more bandwidth at one time. So I like to get some feedback on what you thought about the polling, or any other ideas, or is there something you want me to show you real quickly that piqued your interest? Thanks, guys.
Hello, Veronica.
Hey.
So I've had some problems with my some of my students' microphone they're not able to connect. Would it be on their camera or would it be on their computer that's the problem?
I can't really answer that without knowing what type of computer, what type of webcam. Most times, if they have the latest and greatest laptop, the webcam is built in, and so are the speakers and
Yeah.
mic. If they're attaching, equipment to their computer, then they're just going to have to do some troubleshooting.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, because typically it works
All right.
fine. Are you having a better semester with this
Well, it's
group?
good, but we're starting our presentations now next week, so we're practicing this week on Adobe Connect. And last night I practiced with a friend, and we couldn't get her microphone to come on, but it turned out that she didn't have it enabled on her computer properly.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Yeah, if a student had a USB headphone and mic set, that would be ideal. A lot of times that cuts out a lot of the feedback that they get. Especially if they're in a large room, you get that hollow type sound effect. But if they don't have it, it'll work out. One of the things that I do recommend is that students, just like when they're taking a test, that they are plugged into the internet connection, hardwired. If they're wireless, then of course, anything can happen and they lose connection, but they can easily come back in. But a wired connection would be preferred. Yeah, Chris, thank you. Also, Adobe Flash has to be updated on their computer. And normally when they're trying to access Adobe Connect, it will prompt them to do these various upgrades. So they need to upgrade and allow any of the applets or the installs that they have to do. Thank you, Deborah. Okay, I want to make sure we don't have any more questions before I close with showing you how to stop your recordings and get your recordings. Either type we're okay, or give me a green arrow, or I agree. And actually, I'm going to promote everybody to host so that you see the difference between hosts and presenters. So right now, all of you are in here as hosts, and because you're a host under my account, you don't have 100% of the features that I would have, but you have pretty close to it. Use for the flipped classroom. Okay. Can we do remote access instead of? I haven't tried remote access, so I don't know how to answer that one. I hope I haven't missed any questions. If I have, just yell out to me. Okay. Okay, I'm switching back over to, and as you can see, everybody who's host and they're moving around, you can see their mouse on the screen and with their name, so you kind of know who's moving around. And so if somebody wanted to, they can go ahead and click on the discussion layout and switch layouts. Over to the, okay. So as you can see, as a student, I promoted you and you have the same access to switch layouts and share your screen and share your whiteboard and Does somebody want to create a poll? You'll go up to pods. And do, yeah, create a poll. It doesn't matter. Everybody create a poll and move it so we can see it. Actually, let me hide my poll so we can see what's going on. If you would, on the poll that you're creating, double click on the title and put your name as the title so we see who did what. And do one with multiple answers, multiple choice, and the other one, short answer. I thought I hit that. Okay. And then once you're ready to release your poll, you'll just click on the button that says open, And that opens it to the class, otherwise they won't see it. Okay, Diane, what is your, oh, that's easy. So Diane has one up here. And then as soon as I see people kind of finalizing their poll, then I'm going to have those who created the poll to close the poll and then broadcast the results.
Can you ever do avatars and create your own little?
Not in here. Not in here. Mm-mm. Now, if you want to play with avatars, we have a 4 o'clock session today. Okay. Yeah. Okay. How much Christmas shopping have you done? 0. Using 3 words. Okay. Okay, I'm waiting on, okay. Okay, so those who created a poll, if you would, go ahead and close it so we can answer and then broadcast the results. And if you would, kind of resize it so we see, resize it and position it on the screen so everybody sees what's what. Nobody has done Christmas shopping? What?
50%. The day's not over yet.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody can see that we see favorite ice cream flavors, we see who's done their Christmas shopping, we see favorite colors. Way to go, Blues. Okay, for the purposes of seeing what I'm about to see now, I'm going to leave you in host mode, but I want you to cease your activity for just a moment. So in order to stop your recording, you'll basically click on the red button up here at the top and click stop recording. And